So let me just go through my stuff where we can't call anything to order because we're technically not meeting, but I might as well go over and just let you know what's happening. So, um, biggest thing that's going on right now is with pickleball. So, as you all know, for the last couple of years that we've had the mechanic courts open, we have done reservations online so people could reserve court time. What we discovered was there were factions of people who were blocking hours worth of time and nobody else could play. So at one time I had mentioned that I was going to have a little task force I was going to put together to discuss it with those people and see how to come up with the best method for us. The more and more I talked with the players whom I deal with, the more I realized we were never going to find common ground. So I've gone ahead and made an executive decision, and I talked to Rich about this earlier today, and we're going to do a hybrid of things. We're going to a paddle system during peak hours. And a paddle system is we literally bought these racks that you put your paddle in. And that lets you know when your game is up. And it's, it'll be next and they move down the line. So we have the paddle system from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. daily. 12 to 4, we're allowing for rentals for those who want to play with their specific groups. 4 to whenever it's dark out or people want to torture themselves through is going to be paddle system again. This will eliminate the major groups who were really good at finding the loopholes in the system from blocking all the time. There was a group of people who literally had the court every night from 4 to 7 because they were so good at the system. And to me, and then what they do is when they booked a court, they would book one tennis court, so that's now 2 pickleball courts. Somebody else would book the other court, so they have all 4 courts, and then they have this app called Playtime Scheduler. I don't like it. I don't use it. People have asked me about it. I say that's not something we're getting into business with, and they invite their own specific friends. So it becomes very closed. We want inclusive, not exclusive. So we have gone to this model where we just started on, I think the paddle system went up on Friday last week. So it just went up. It's just getting started. I put word out to all my pickleball players, just so they know, and it's something that's going to adapt. I'm going to have signage put down there. We're going to try this out. We reserve the right to change our minds. If it's not working, if there's more problems, we can go back to the reservation system. I'm fine with that too. I just want to be more inclusive for people to be able to have playtime. What we found is with the system that we were using, people were going on at 6 o'clock in the morning because that's when it would open up to be able to reserve a court for 2 weeks away or whatever it was. And people had multiple email addresses and they're going in there and they're, going to email addresses, boom, blocking courts. This takes that away. Now, this also creates, it is going to create another issue where we could have a lot of people down there waiting to play. Quite honestly, we have that every day in the Civic Center. We have 30 to 35, 40 people a day waiting to play. The biggest part about pickleball is it's a social game. Yes, we want to go out there and we want to play and we want to get the activity, but it's a social element too. So people are accustomed to waiting. And again, we'll have rules. Instead of playing your games to 11, 21, whatever it is, games to 9. This is what we do in the Civic Center. Works very well. We have minimal complaints on it. Usually the people who are complaining are saying to me, well, why is this group who's a beginner coming to an intermediate session? I tell them because I don't care who comes when. It's all about playing the game. If you don't want to play with that person, sign up to play with another person. And that's what they can do. So that's a pickleball situation for now. I wish I could take questions on this, but we're kind of not meeting, so I'm just kind of feeding information. If anybody has questions offline about it, of course, give me a call about it. And again, this is a trial process. It may flop. It may be great. Most towns are doing the paddle system. Some towns use the reservation site. We're doing the combo of both and seeing how it works. So that's where we are with that. As far as programming goes, we have adult tap dance starting next week. We actually have 14 people registered for that. Biddy basketball starts up in a couple weeks. We have 44 registered for that. Home alone safety, we only have 2 registered right now, but we'll get more for that. I'm not worried about it at all. And even if there's only 2, we run it with 2. Spring tennis, we have 4 classes, 32 kids signed up so far. 2 sessions are full, one with a wait list that we're probably going to be able to take them off of it and have 2 classes from that. Soccer shots has 52 kids in there amongst their 7 classes. Youth climbing has 4. So there's actually spots in our youth climbing program, which is a first. We actually were full at one time, but people based off of soccer schedules, lacrosse schedules, baseball schedules, softball schedules had to withdraw. So that's okay. There's 2 people who will be excited at some point. Um, with pickleball lessons indoors, beginner classes haven't been filling up, which is funny because for the last several years, we put them online and they would fill up so quickly. So what we think has happened is we've hit all the beginners at this point, or the ones who nobody's looking for that. They're looking for more of the advanced beginners. So we're doing the advanced beginners, but we've also moved because advanced players are now looking for something they can do. So we're adding drilling classes, which is working on your footwork, working on strokes, working on strategies. It's a new element that's being done, and we want to get ahead of the curve. So we're going to do drilling classes, and this will be just for indoors. Outdoors, we'll offer some more beginner classes, because the outdoor lessons are at different times that might work better for the working people, their weekends, their evenings. So we're not hitting that group during the weekdays. So the drilling classes are actually all full. So people really showed some excitement about that. Cardio dance is coming back. Our instructor who had torn meniscus, she had surgery on it. She's feeling better. She's going to start back up for us in April. We're excited about having her back. And then SNL will be with us for April vacation. SNL does a fantastic job with us, or for us. And for April vacation, this will tie into facilities as well, so I might as well just tie it all in. We are going to have that program over at the Galvin because the gym floor, the heritage room floor, and the hallway on the of the Civic Center are all being refurbished that week. So the gym's got a nice buff and shine that's been needed. It's something that I want to do every few years, just to kind of maintain that floor, never let it get to the condition it was before. So that's going to buff and shine. The heritage room and the hallway are getting full strips and totally redone. So that's going to be exciting for that. So we can't even use our space. I can't be in my office. I'll be working remote that week. And then actually downstairs in the basement level, if you've been down there in the last several weeks, the floor's been painted down there, and we had some sort of epoxy put down on the floor. So we're doing it section by section at a time. The from the elevator towards the bathrooms has already been done. From the doors to the food pantry all the way down to the end of that hallway has been done. Now just the main hall needs to be done. That's going to be done during April vacation as well. So the Boys and Girls Club is moving all of their stuff over to Stoneham. So anybody for the food pantry who work on the second floor, they can access it after Tuesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that week, they'll be fine. But Boys and Girls Club and ourselves are relocating just because of the needs that we have. So and everybody will just have to come in through the lower entrance that week and take the elevator up. So all the tenants know it. They're all aware of it. Everybody's excited about the projects that are happening because they're long overdue. So that's what's going on with that stuff. Programming for summer, we have an absolute ton. Nothing that's really crazy new for us. We kind of do the same stuff. We know it's going to happen. Little tweaks here or there. Our summer camp numbers are actually great right now for our club rec program. We're averaging, between 30 and 40 a week right now, and that's great for this time of year. Because usually we have about 80 a week for the summer. So we're already halfway to that point, and we're only in March. And then Kids Corner, our feeder program for the club rec, we have about 7 a week right now. We only take 20 for that program per week. And again, we're only in March. So we're excited about where we are with all of that. And we expect that. I'm looking at my list. There's nothing that I don't think will run. So that's exciting. We canceled a few last year. We hate canceling programs. So I think we're in a good spot with that. Facilities wise, we are doing a few new things over at the Albion Culture Exchange. We have a rental in there. For the last several weeks, we've had an Irish step dancing program. an Irish step dancing company who was looking for a new space, and they've been using the space on Monday nights. They did it up until this Monday because they were gearing up for their St. Patrick's celebration wherever they were going. And then they also use they were also using Tuesday nights. So we have them there for 2 nights a week, and they're real excited about being in the space. Then we have the April show with the Arts Collaborative of Wakefield. They'll have their April show, and then there's a group that was sent to me by Steve Mayo this week. It's a bunch of seniors, and it's a band, and I don't know what kind of band we're talking about, but it's like a 35 people in this group who bring their own instruments and they jam out. And they were looking for some space, and Steve turned them over to me, and they talked about the heritage. I'm like, well, you can't really have 35 people in there during the day banging on drums because some of us are actually trying to get some work done. I'm not saying me, maybe Karen or people upstairs. I'm usually out with the pickleballers. But Albion would work actually very well for them. So we're going to get a little rental out of that too. And they want to buy some new chairs for the space. So currently we have chairs that have arms on it. And the woman I was speaking with said, we really can't play instruments with the arms out there. If we bought chairs and donated them to the space, would you be fine with that? Yeah, absolutely. So we're working on that, which is exciting. And then as far as fields, I mean, we're just getting started. So all grass fields are still sneakers only in the outfield, nothing on the infields yet because everything's still wet and spongy. Turf fields are up and running. They're going. So everything looks good there. The high school has given me all their schedules, so we'll work on that stuff. I'm working with youth football right now. So last year we were able to get them with the loss of Beasley, we were able to get them 2 nights up at Landrigan, and then band would use 2 nights, and then high school football would potentially be on the Friday nights. So we always took Friday out of the equation. This year, youth football needs an extra night in Wakefield. I guess they were going to Danvers Indoor Sports to rent space at an exorbitant cost. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up taking a 3-hour block from soccer during the fall and let football go there. Soccer still has, one field at Galvin every night of the week. They'll have the other one 4 nights a week, and then they can use it after football's done. Football will probably go from 4 to 7, 4:30 to 7:30, 5 to 8, something like that. But I want to be equitable. It's not the football's fault that their main field is gone, and it's not their fault that band needs the time that they need. So we're gonna make that work for them. And then I've had a conversation with the school department about the potential. So I'm sure you've all heard that there's potential for a changed school day for the high school kids, that they might go later. I met with the superintendent. I met with the athletic director and some others. I don't know how it's going to go. I gave them my feelings on it, and my feelings are I don't like it. I don't like it for a variety of reasons. My children have it here in Reading, and I don't like it then. I don't like it now. Now, of course, the school thought is that the kids are going to, the high school kids need more rest, and that by going to school later, they'll get more rest. I can tell you from having 2 kids, they stay up later. So they don't get any more rest. They just stay up later. That's just the reality of it. So I also don't like it on the end that now that the high school is going later, that means our youth are going to get on fields later. So we're stealing from Peter to pay Paul. And the little ones who need to be in bed early because they go to school early are now going to get to bed later. Makes no sense to me. And I stated that in that meeting, and I put that in any forum. So obviously, because I'm stating it here, this is a publicly recorded meeting. So it's something that I'm not in favor of, but I don't have a say in it. I did speak in that meeting up and said that, if we go to this, we do need to be mindful of the young kids. They still need to be in bed by certain times. So that means high school's going to have to accommodate with their practice times. If they were going for, 2-hour soccer practices, say from 3 to 5 and 5 to 7, we need to cut those down to an hour and a half. so the youth can still get on at a decent time. Um, High school football currently practices 3 hours. We need them cut down to two and a half. Band, if they're on for 4, they need to go back to 3. Whatever it is to make sure that the youth get equitable attempts as well at field space. So, and everybody was amenable to that. I have always considered myself the advocate for youth sports because they don't have a voice. It's in the priority line. It's high school sports first, then recreation programs, and I specifically don't have any to avoid the conflict with youth, and then youth. I want to be their voice and make sure that their needs are met. So everybody in that meeting was left understanding where our position was, or my position was, and hopefully it doesn't come to that. But if it does, I'm on record with everything that needs to be done, and I think we'll make it all work. Um,
And I do have a question about the fields,
yep,
if I may.
yep,
Um, so you asked me about the baseball schedules. Part of the reason why the schedules aren't ready yet is we don't know when the fields will be ready
yeah.
or available. Do you have an idea or a sense?
Talked to Dennis today. Um, Dennis said that, and we Dennis and I generally only talk about the 90-foot diamonds
Yeah.
because those are the ones that are really where there's
Okay.
scheduling issues. Walsh was nowhere near ready. Um, the same with Blatt's softball field, nowhere near ready, especially because that was um, sodded. Okay. Moulton, nobody should be on yet. Sullivan is being used this year by the Voc with permission from the high school and Dennis. And they can go on there because we're not too worried about the damage that can be done there. I mean, it's very hard outfield anyways. So they're on their sneakers only right now. Dennis and I, when we talked today, we thought that everybody should be out on the fields pending weather.
Yeah.
Um, Certainly by the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's some time, but we have time. And you guys, if I remember correctly, don't start until about the end of April anyways, after April vacation.
Younger kids will start after April vacation.
Yep.
The older kids, like AAA and majors,
Yep.
tend to have practices before that.
So
So,
this is going to be a foolish question because I really don't know the answer because I've never really got schedules. They only play at Fernald though, right? Oh no, in Nacella.
um, the majors do. Double A, they start playing at JJ Round and Ewell
Okay.
sometimes.
Okay.
But Nacella and Fernald is the other two fields for the
Okay.
majors. But for practice, um, they may go to other fields just for practice.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Right.
I don't know what the practice schedule is, but I know they'll follow whether the fields are open or not for
I
practice
know
too.
Dennis has had communications with somebody. Dennis is great about this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He
He
gets
spoke
word out
last
to
year for an hour about
everybody,
the fields. It's
right?
crazy. Yeah,
But I know that he's had contact with people saying, "Hey, listen, if you're going out on this, it's sneakers only,"
yeah,
which is fine, totally fine. I
yeah.
encourage
But
get the
first
kids
week of
out there.
April, I think that seems
That's
if
where we were today.
that's what we're looking for. Then
Yeah.
looking at that's very reasonable to start.
Now, of course, if you saw weather like I did today, we're getting rain on Friday, and then we get rain on Sunday. So how do the fields look like on Monday?
Right, right.
Who knows? But his crews are out hitting stuff already, so
Yeah, JJ Rounds needs a lot of work.
needs a lot of love.
It does.
Yeah.
I was there this past weekend, and they have bike divots everywhere, dog footprints,
Yep.
people
So
footprints, just huge divots.
Dennis had said that they were at, I forget if he said Moulton or Sullivan today. I just can't remember which one. Filling holes from dogs today. So they're out there hitting that
Moulton
stuff.
actually look pretty, and they have a sign there saying, "Please keep your dogs off the clay."
Yeah, signs mean nothing.
Yeah, I know, no, but at least when I was there at Moulton this past weekend too, the dogs were in the outfield.
Okay. So yeah, so they started working on. In fact, I think he said they dragged one of the infields yesterday, and he goes, "Well, that was kind of stupid of us because it was still really goopy,
Mm.
but at least it kind of got some stuff moving." So
Okay,
there's
but that's
progress
good to
there.
know. Like first
Yep.
week of April,
Yeah.
pending weather and yeah, and
And,
delays.
and he'll definitely let Brian Fabry or
Oh,
whoever
yeah,
know.
yeah, all
You know.
those guys. Yeah,
And then, Charlie, when I know, I'll let you know.
yeah, that's fine. And then I'll get you the schedules
Just keep you,
this
that would
year.
be great. Keep you in the loop. Because I've never really seen the schedules because truthfully, I don't need it. You guys are blanketed. But now where we're short Beasley,
Right,
if I can go snag a time for a youth soccer team to go hop on JJ
right,
to
right,
go knock a ball around, great.
right.
Right? Just that gives me I'm not looking to reserve to outside entities. Forget that. We'll worry about that when we
Yeah,
get
just if there's any
Beasley there.
conflicts, at least you know what's
Yes.
open.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or even if lacrosse needs to go jump
yeah,
somewhere because I'm sorry, Dolbear gets beat up.
yeah,
Can we take some wear and tear off of Dolbear for a little bit and send a group down there?
yeah.
As somebody who coached soccer for years, I don't need goals. I just need space. So, if we can do that, that'd be helpful. So,
Works for me.
um, thank you for the schedules. That's great. So that's kind of all the stuff I have, though I do have one other announcement. And, obviously I hope that we had more of an attendance tonight, but this is Gene's last meeting. Gene has decided to step down, and I'm gonna miss Gene dearly. So when I first applied for this job, however long ago that was now, my first interaction with anybody from Wakefield was a call from Gene to ask me to interview for the position. And at the time, I had no idea who Gene was. I thought Gene was, the whatever. And it turned out that Gene's one of the most influential person that I've worked with in my 22 years of doing this stuff. Um, so I had at that time when I got the call, I said, "Wow, I'm real excited about this job now. There's this really personable, intelligent person who's reaching out to me, and we had a great conversation to start. And I can tell you where I was at the time. I was in Arlington. I was in the parking lot of my outside my building, right near the Little League field, because I didn't want anybody to know what I was doing. My boss knew I was doing it, but I didn't want everybody else to know. And I remember my boss telling me, "Oh, Dan, you're gonna have a hard time getting this. They're gonna look for a candidate with a lot of experience, but it's good for you to interview." And then I went to the first interview, and I was with Gene Cy Bodie, who used to be on the board a long time ago, and Tony Longo. And meeting Gene face to face, I felt an instant connection to her because, again, I had already had this phone conversation and sat through that interview, and I felt really great about the job and thinking I really have a shot at this. And I really, after leaving that, I really wanted the job. And then I met with Steve, and I didn't think my interview went very well. And I said to my wife, "Well, I guess I'm going to be staying in Arlington." And then I get the call that I was hired. And um, I've had the absolute pleasure of working with Gene. And Gene reminds me so much of my own mom in so many ways. And that to me is one of the highest compliments I can give you, Gene. So I'm going to miss you immensely. I'm going to miss our conversations about sports and everything else. And my promise to you is that I'm always hiring Wakefield kids. That's been the standard, and we will continue with that. But thank you so much for all your years of service before me and with me, and I hope that the friendship continues beyond tonight.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it certainly will continue beyond this evening. But it was just time for me to give somebody else an opportunity that may have children in the town that are involved in the sports and the activities that, maybe have a little more they're down at the fields, they see what's going on and things like that. So it was time for me to give somebody else an opportunity. I've been doing this. I wasn't Stinson when I started this, so I've been doing this a long time because my 20th wedding anniversary is coming up. But um, and I think probably I have to say the highlight of my 23 or whatever years it is um, was was doing that interview process with Dan. It was I actually put the people in the order that I thought that Steve should hire. It wasn't my decision, but that's how I shifted them up, the write-ups to him up to the main office. And it was just even talking to him on the phone, like you said, we had a nice conversation on the phone. I said, "Oh, this kid has to be one of the top candidates." And when he came in, he just proved it to Cy and Tony as well. So. The town's in good hands with Dan, and the rest of the board members. So I'll miss it. I'll miss tuning in on Zoom. I'll really miss it if you guys go back to meeting in person, because
Well, that's supposedly happening next month.
I did meet Julie in person, but I had never met Charlie in person. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, it's been a delight. But I just thought it was time for somebody else to get an opportunity to do it.
Well, Gene, just know that you've meant so much to me, and you know, you've always been somebody that I know I'm gonna get the direct, honest opinion from. I'm gonna get questions from, and you're gonna make me think, and those are things that I've always appreciated. You will certainly be missed in more ways than you will ever know.
Well, I'll be I'll probably be more in touch now. I'll give you a call once in a while.
Please
I know
do.
I text you on your birthday, but I'll try to give you a call once in a while, check on
Please,
how you're
please
doing.
do.
I
Because
will.
I will miss you immensely. At least I'll miss this part immensely. You know, I
Yeah,
know that I know that I can still call you if I need.
absolutely. Anytime, any time of the day.
Yeah, thank you so much. So that's what I have for everybody. You know, again, I wish we could have had a formal meeting, but it didn't happen. So um, we will meet again next month with our new look, which is really just nobody's replaced Gene yet. So if you have friends who are interested in doing so, please have them apply. I definitely, you know, want a ninth person so we can always have quorum. You know, so if we didn't have Gene tonight, it's only the three of us. So you know, I'd like to make sure that we have the ninth so we always have the quorum. And if we had to do any kind of vote, we have the numbers to be able to do that. So all right, everybody. I will make sure I see you all in April and hope all is well. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Dan.
everybody.
And thanks, Jean, for everything.
Bye-bye.